Hi everybody and welcome back to another Legends of Runeterra video. So Leona was just revealed, her kind of reveal video is just out, so you should go watch that. It's pretty cool. There's a cool little animation at the beginning with Leona in it. And we're going to go over these cards a little bit here. So Leona, not to pat myself on the back here, but I was pretty much right about everything. I did think she was going to be a 3 mana card. She's 4. Leona as a Daybreak ability, she's going to stun the strongest enemy. I also thought she would have a stun ability and kind of synergize a little bit with Yasuo. Let's see, and then level up, you've activated Daybreak 4+ times. So I also thought that the activation for the level up was going to be easier than Nocturne's because it's harder to get Daybreak abilities. It's hard to get Daybreak than Nightfall. You can only play one Daybreak ability per turn, but you can play multiple Nightfall. Alright, so yeah, not terribly difficult to level up, I suppose. She also doesn't need to be on the board. She doesn't need to see them attack, so this is a passive level up. She can be in your hand or in your deck and can come out leveled up, which is super nice. Makes it a little bit easier to get her level up condition and to use her as a, I guess, late game finisher, if that's even going to be possible. Alright, so when she's leveled up, Daybreak, or when you activate another Daybreak, you stun the strongest enemy. So, think of this kind of as a Swain ability. When you damage the enemy nexus, you're going to be stunning the strongest enemy. A little bit different, however, because you can only pretty much get one of these stuns off per round, unless Raven, the spear guy, whatever, unless that his ability makes it so that you can play multiple Daybreak units. Every time you play a unit that has Daybreak, you get the activation of the ability off, then possibly those two will synergize really well together and you'll be able to stun multiple enemies in a round. Something also important to note, I don't know. So there are no fast speed Daybreak spells, and that's important because on Leona's ability here, it doesn't say like Swain does the strongest backline enemy. And so if you had a fast speed or a burst speed spell that had Daybreak, you would be able to stun an enemy while it was defending or attacking. Since there are no fast speed spells and you can't play a unit during the kind of attack phase of a round, then this ability is not going to be able to be activated when you are attacking or defending. So just keep that in mind. But if they were ever to create a Daybreak ability that was burst speed or fast speed, then that could potentially stun the strongest backline enemy. Alright, so we have a lot of spells here, which is a little bit concerning to me. The reason why this is concerning is because we have no other Daybreak region, unlike Nightfall, where we might get one with Diana and Nocturne, so we've got them from Shadow Isles and possibly from Targon. We don't know that, it's not been confirmed yet, but that's kind of what everybody's assuming. What is kind of concerning with this is that there are only 3, or I guess it's 4 Daybreak units in the entire game. So that makes it extremely hard to level up Leona with Daybreak units, especially if you're not going to be including all of them into your deck. That automatically makes Leona for me a little bit underpowered, and unless they release more units, I don't know that she's going to be a viable champion, and I don't know that Daybreak is going to be a viable meta kind of deck until they get more Daybreak units. Yeah, they're just not enough, they're not strong enough, and her ability is a little bit weak. You can only stun one enemy per round. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. And then if the Raven, the spear guy, whatever, he does allow you to stun more than one enemy per round, then he has to be on the board in order to activate that. So there's a lot of conditions in order to get kind of good use out of Leona's ability here. I'm not convinced that Leona is going to be super strong. The kind of new abilities and the keyword Daybreak is pretty cool, but yeah, I just don't know if she's going to be competitively viable. Let's look at these other cards first, so I haven't had a good look at them, so I may change my mind a little bit. Alright, so Leona's Morning Light. So Morning Light is going to be a playable card. Leona's Morning Light is the champion card, so slow speed spell, keep in mind, like I said, these are all slow speed spells. At least there's one in the bottom right there that's not, but it's not directly related to Leona as far as I can tell. So give allies +2/+2 this round. Shuffle a Leona into your deck. Daybreak, activate all ally Daybreak effects at once. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, if you have a lot of units down, you get multiple uses out of their Daybreak ability, which is super cool. So this will give them +2/+2 automatically. So if you're just using this card, you don't get a lot of use out of it unless you've got Daybreak units out, and if you are using this as the first turn of the round. So just keep that in mind. But that's pretty cool. You're buffing them up. You're giving them +2/+2 plus any of the other kind of stats that they are going to get from the Daybreak abilities. So the Solari Soldier is going to turn into a 5/5. The Solari Shield Bearer is going to turn into a 5/8, which is pretty powerful late game. And then the Sun Guardian is going to turn into I believe it will be a 10/9 with Overwhelm. So this card could potentially make the archetype a little better. It is slow speed, so there are ways to interact with it, and both the Solari Shield Bearer and the Solari Soldier only have 2 health to begin with. Since it's slow, it may be pretty easy to take them out with things like Mystic Shots before this has time to activate. Just keep that in mind. So slow really kind of hinders the use of this card, but depending on the meta and depending on kind of what damaging spells and removal that the enemy has, this could actually fit into this deck. Yeah, you're gonna get it anyway, even if you have a Leona, but you may main deck this depending on kind of the meta. The slow speed kind of hinders it a little bit though. Alright, so over here to this 3-cost spell we're gonna look at first, Zenith Blade. Grant an ally +1/+2 in Overwhelm. Daybreak, draw a Zenith Blade. Alright, so you're granting, so these are permanent buffs, so you're granting a unit Overwhelm. So that seems pretty strong here, and it's a relatively cheap card, and you're giving them +1/+2, so a little bit extra stats to survive a little bit. This, let's see, I don't know how I feel about this, just because it's slow speed again. It's again kind of depending on the meta and what removal spells the enemy has. This could be a really good card or it could be a really bad card because yeah, your units don't have a ton of health, so it might be kind of easy to take them out. If you play this on Leona, more than likely this is going to at least go through. The Overwhelm is going to be super nice, and she'll survive because she's got 5 health. Unless they've got a ton of removal or like Wheel of Ionia or something, but that's been nerfed, so this card's a little better probably than a lot of people think. But yeah, just the slow speed is troublesome. It kind of reminds me of Scales of the Dragon and whatever that card is that he produces that gives you plus, I think it's 3 health, so it's kind of the same stat wise. You are giving them Overwhelm as well though, so that makes it a little better. And then the Daybreak ability is you draw another Zenith Blade, so you're not creating your drawing. So if you include 3 of these in your deck, the most you can get value out of the Daybreak ability on this card is twice, unless for some reason you've had more created, but twice is going to be kind of the cap of the Daybreak ability on this card. And I don't know if you really want to be playing this first anyway, because it is slow speed and it's easily interrupted and could be very punishable. Alright, so let's look at this 6 mana card here. Sunburst. Slow speed spell, deal 6 to a unit. Daybreak, instead silence it this round and deal 6 to it. That seems like a little bit of overkill to me. Deal 6 to a unit, and then Daybreak, you're silencing it this round and then dealing 6 to it. How many cards are going to be able to survive 6 damage, and how many cards are going to be able to interact with this card if they have more than 6 health? Even if they don't late game. So for example, like you've got cards like They Who Endure, right? At the end of the game, they're going to be really buff. More than likely, they're going to have more than 6 plus health, right? And so you're playing this 6-cost spell and you're silencing it. So it's going to get rid of its Overwhelm. But the problem with this is it's slow, and so if you use this proactively as a Daybreak ability, they have the ability to use Atrocity and completely just end the game, right? A lot of these units that have more than 6 health that you're using this on late game are going to be kind of Atrocity targets and units. So the Daybreak really isn't very useful on this card. The Silence I don't think is worth enough to you to use this card as a Daybreak ability rather than another card with Daybreak. Just keep that in mind. I don't think this card is good. It's a slow speed spell. Anything that's slow speed, yeah, it's just really bad. It's like a really bad Vengeance. Vengeance is a 7 cost fast speed spell. You can use it during the attack phase. This one you have to be proactive with. You have to use it at the first of the round to get the full value out of it, and then you're just dealing 6 to a unit. Not super good. Not a big fan of this card. Maybe others will find different ways for it. I don't see this card making it into the meta. I don't see it being very good. Alright, this last card here, this looks Guiding Touch, heal an ally, or your Nexus 2, draw 1. Everybody is saying that because they are revealing these cards with these other champions that don't necessarily have anything to do with them, that someone like Soraka is going to be released this expansion. I've maintained from the beginning that Soraka is not going to be released this expansion, and neither is Zoe. I think it's going to be Diana and Aurelian Soul. I might come back to eat those words, but why would they release their like follower cards and their spells before they're released? It just doesn't make sense. Or revealed, I mean. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be revealed. This expansion is going to come later. Guiding Touch is heal an ally in your Nexus 2, draw 1. So this is interesting. So a health potion or pot gives you 3. It's a burst speed 1 mana spell. This one is from Targon, that one's from Ionia. This one is granting you card draw as well, so kind of compare it to something like Key Guardian, where you're giving it an ally barrier in your hand and then drawing 1. This card could work. I don't know, it just kind of depends on how the meta is. This seems like kind of an anti-burn card. Also, it could be a kind of put into a control deck with Targon. I don't know what to really think about this card yet. The draw 1 is really nice, and you get immediate value out of it, unlike Key Guardian, where you have to play a unit in order to get the barrier down. So more mana spent. So I would say overall this card is probably okay. Drawing cards is nice. You're expending 2 mana for it. Yeah, and we're introducing card draw options into Targon, which I don't think we have had yet. So every region needs kind of a card draw option, especially with like mid-range decks where you're placing a lot of units on curve and end up using a lot of your cards in hand. So it's nice to have a way to draw cards. So this will probably make it into deck simply because this is, I believe, I may be wrong about this, I can't remember another card from Targon that draws you one. So yeah, if we don't have any other draw cards from Targon, this may be included into decks, mid-range Targon decks where we're running out of steam. Yeah, this is also kind of anti-burn and could possibly help you in a control deck as well. So yeah, so overall, let's kind of, I'm not going to really go over Guiding Touch again. It's kind of not really, doesn't really belong with this set of cards here. Overall, I am a little bit underwhelmed by Leona. I don't like these slow speed spells. They're kind of mana heavy with the exception of Zenith Blade being 3. Still slow though. You're limited in when you can use it. You have to be proactive with all of these cards. They have to be played at the first of the round in order to get the ability off, the Daybreak ability off, unless Raven is producing these Daybreak abilities every time you play them. But yeah, slow speed, easily interrupted. There aren't a lot of these units with a ton of life. Like the 2 best units that were revealed also have the least amount of life after their Daybreak abilities wear off. So they each only have 2 health. And these cards are used to buff up your units. The Morning Light and Zenith Blade are used to buff up your units, easily interrupted, easily like disrupted with spells and removal. So yeah, not a super big fan. Sunburst I think is an awful card. I do not think that it's going to see play. Yeah, just the value of it is not worth putting into a deck. And Leona, I don't know, I think unless she gets some more support from her followers and other Daybreak units, I don't think she's going to be in a meta deck. I really don't. It's just, her ability is a little bit underwhelming, and that's just because she's paired with an ability that only allows you to get it off once per round. And yeah, you're forced to auto include Raven the Spear in the deck, and his stat line isn't super good either. Yeah, just not super impressed with Leona. Hopefully we get more Daybreak cards just to give her a little bit more utility and variability with decks you can make. Yeah, but until then, I think she's underpowered. I don't think she's going to be a very good champion card this expansion. All right, so that's about it. That's my thoughts from this. Oh, one other thing. I was hoping that there would be more stun support for her as well. The stun ability doesn't really make sense with Leona. Like thematically with her champion it does, but there are no other stun units in in Targon with her followers. She's the only unit that is stunning. So like, what's the point of that unless you have more support with stun? Yeah, I just don't get the ability. It doesn't really make sense, and you can't really pair it with other regions efficiently like Yasuo. Well, okay, so that's about it. That's all I'm going to say about it. Not a super big fan of Leona. Anyway, give me your thoughts on her. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you tomorrow for the next set of revealed cards. Thanks.